Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we are stripping away all that New Year, New You talk.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We're not looking at a guide on, how to get ready for beach season. We're looking at a text that frames health as something much more aggressive.
Visceral and definitely controversial.
Today we're unpacking the ebook Intermittent Fasting Intervals, Alternate Days, Feeding Windows, Walking, and Lifting by Conrad Reicher.
It is a mouthful of a title, isn't it?
Well,
But don't let that fool you. This isn't really a diet book in the way you'd normally think of one. It reads more like a manifesto.
not at all. And look, before we get into these waters, and they are deep today, I want to ask you to hit that like and subscribe button right now.
Please do.
We dig up the most dense, provocative stuff so you don't have to end. Well, let's just say the algorithm isn't a huge fan of the kind of red-pilled content we're talking about.
Not even a little.
Support the show. Help us find the men who really need this message. And let's dive in.
So, to set the stage here, usually health books are all about, health is happiness or longevity. Riker comes at it from a totally different angle. He frames this as a declaration of war.
Right. A central argument is that the modern male body hasn't just gotten a bit soft from Netflix and, Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Riker's point is that the male body has been systematically broken by civilization itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He says our major institutions, we're talking medicine, media, education, they've been captured. His argument is they're run by feminist and Marxist ideologies that actually treat masculinity like a disease.
And the result of that.
The result, according to him, is a population of men who are metabolically and psychologically broken. He calls the modern man a dopamine-drenched lab rat.
It's a really jarring image. And listen, if you want to follow along with the actual protocols, because we're focusing more on the philosophy today, you need to grab the book.
You really do.
Go to Amazon Kindle or Google Playbooks right now. Search for intermittent fasting intervals, alternate days, feeding windows, walking, and lifting. You'll probably want to see the manual for yourself.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to really unpack this idea he has of metabolic sovereignty.
Metabolic sovereignty. That's the anchor of the whole book, really. The idea that fasting isn't about losing weight. It's about escaping a system that profits from you being weak and docile.
It's about reclaiming your biological state.
The one you were designed for, yeah.
To make this point, Riker starts with this really stark contrast. He calls it the fall. On one side, we have a guy named Tuma.
Right, Tuma. The Hadza tracker from Tanzania. Riker uses him as the archetype, the sovereign man.
So what's his deal?
Tuma wakes up, walks 12 miles in the blistering sun, tracks prey, and he does all of this on an empty stomach. He's not hangry. He's not shaking from low blood sugar.
He's alert. He's lean.
He's dangerous in the sense of being capable.
Yeah.
His body is running on its own fuel.
And then Riker just holds up a mirror to the average guy in the West.
The lab rat. Bloated, anxious, absolutely terrified of skipping one meal. But, and this is the key insight, Riker doesn't just blame the man for being lazy. He points to a biochemical villain.
Insulin.
He calls insulin the tyrant hormone.
Let's pause on that because most people only hear about insulin with diabetes. Why a tyrant?
So simply put, insulin is a storage hormone. You eat, insulin spikes, it pushes energy into your cells. That's its job.
Okay.
But Riker's point is, when insulin is high, other hormones get suppressed, specifically testosterone and growth hormone. Biologically, you can't be in storage mode and hunter mode at the same time.
So if insulin is the boss,
Testosterone is locked in the basement. Yeah.
and this ties directly into his attack on grazing, right? The idea of eating all day.
Oh, he goes hard on this. He says the modern advice, eat small meals every 2 hours, is feminine-coded behavior.
That's a loaded term. What does he mean by that, biologically?
He bases it on evolutionary biology. The idea is that women needed to conserve energy for pregnancy and nursing, which fits with more frequent, smaller meals. Gathering behavior.
But men are wired differently.
Men are wired to hunt, to endure a deficit for long periods. Riker's argument is that when a man grazes all day, his insulin is always high. He never enters that fasted hunter state.
So he's chemically neutering himself.
That's his argument, yeah. He's preventing his own insulin from ever crashing, which is the signal to ramp up testosterone.
So listening to some wellness influencer who tells you to have a granola bar at 10 and a yogurt at 2.
You're keeping yourself in a hormonal state of childhood. He calls it becoming a metabolic child. A child cries when it's hungry because it has no reserves. A man is supposed to decide when he eats.
And he says this isn't an accident. This gets us to institutional capture. I found this part of the book fascinating, the history lesson.
Yes, this is where he moves from pure biology into a political critique. He goes after the USDA food guidelines, the food pyramid,
We all grew up thinking that was like gospel.
carved in stone. But Riker argues the 1980 guidelines were shaped by political lobbyists and vegetarian activists. He even names names, like Neil Bernard.
So the food pyramid is a political document, not a biological one.
That's his view. That the whole shift to a grain-based, low-fat diet was a tool for creating a docile population.
Yeah.
High carbs mean high insulin, which means lower aggression, lower drive.
Wow.
If you want people who are easy to manage, you keep them fed on cheap grains and you keep their testosterone low.
And he really goes after intuitive eating.
Oh, he despises it. He calls it a female-coded anti-science cult.
That's harsh. Why? It sounds so harmless.
Because for him, intuitive eating is just a fancy way of saying surrender. If your intuition has been hijacked by hyper-palatable, engineered foods, Doritos, corn syrup, then listening to your body is like listening to an addict.
The intuition itself is broken.
It's broken. Riker says men don't need to honor their cravings, they need to override the signals.
But what about the genetics thing? People say, oh, I have the thrifty gene.
He sees that as a total cop-out. He says the thrifty gene, the ability to store fat, isn't a flaw, it's a feature. It's what kept your ancestors alive.
Right.
The problem isn't your genes, it's the environment. He calls it the 247 food battlefield. Your body is trying to save you from a famine that never ever comes.
So the environment is the enemy, and the weapon to fight back is your own biology. This brings me to the big aha moment in the book, the testosterone code.
Yeah, this data is fascinating. He sent a study, Trimmer et al., from 2013. It showed that after just 24 to 48 hours of fasting, luteinizing hormone increases by up to 180%.
Okay, for anyone who hasn't opened a biology textbook in a while, luteinizing hormone is what?
It's the command signal. It's the hormone the pituitary gland sends down to the testicles with one message.
Yeah.
Make testosterone now.
And it goes up 180%.
It's massive. And it makes perfect evolutionary sense, right? If you're starving, nature doesn't want you to just curl up and die.
It wants you to go kill something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wants you to get aggressive, focused, and energetic so you can find food. Fasting literally jumpstarts the engine.
So when Riker lays out his arsenal, the protocols like 16.8, 5.2, alternate day fasting, it's not about cutting calories for vanity, it's hormonal warfare.
Precisely. He's treating the body like a machine that needs a specific code, and that includes the walking protocol, which he ties to autophagy.
Autophagy. That's a word you hear a lot. Give us the simple version.
Think of it as your cell's cleaning house, a cellular reboot. When you're not digesting, your cells start eating up junk proteins, misfolded cells, all the precancerous gunk.
And walking while fasted speeds that up.
It accelerates it. But for Riker, the psychological edge is even more important. It denies what he calls a gynocentric lie, that hunger is an emergency. Every single step you take while hungry is proof that you are in control, not your stomach.
That word gynocentric shows up a lot. It really defines the worldview. And he connects us to our internal clocks, too. The clockwork body.
The rule is super simple. Eat in the light, fast in the dark.
Which sounds obvious, but he gives it a really specific cultural spin.
He argues that eating at night, especially under blue light from screens, is infantilizing. It aligns men with a comfort-driven culture.
Right.
Men used to guard the perimeter in the dark. Now we sit in the glow of a TV, eating cereal. He says it's a degradation of the hunter instinct. The blue light messes with your cortisol and melatonin, which just further wrecks your testosterone.
Speaking of cereal versus the hunter, we have to touch on the protein priority. Riker really goes to war over meat.
He really does. He claims plant-based diets are fundamentally feminizing. He points to things like phytoestrogens in soy, claiming they mimic estrogen in the body.
Now, that's a pretty debated point in the mainstream, right?
It is, but he's very firm on the sources he uses. And he takes aim at a specific target, the Eat-Lancet Commission.
That's the group pushing for a global planetary health diet.
And Riker points out it was led by female scientists and pushes a very low protein agenda. He says it causes muscle atrophy in men. For him, red meat isn't just food, it's the fuel for building empires.
So diet is politics.
In this book, everything is politics. There is no neutral ground.
Which leads us right into the Red Pill Panopticon, chapter 14. This part it's intense. He talks about guilt engineering.
And this is crucial to his whole argument. Guilt engineering is his term for how traditional masculine traits, stoicism, competitiveness, ambition, have been relabeled by groups like the American Psychological Association as toxic.
He gives that wild example from Scandinavia, the dump truck story.
Yeah, he tells this story about a father who got in trouble because his son wanted to play with a toy dump truck. The school said it was reinforcing toxic masculinity.
A dump truck, a toy that builds things.
And Riker uses that to show how deep the ideology goes. If a boy wanting to build something is toxic, then the very nature of being a man is under attack.
And he links this to male suicide rates.
Directly. He says these gender-neutral policies strip men of their purpose. If you can't be a protector or a builder, then what are you?
And therapy culture just makes it worse. He really dislikes the wellness warrior industry.
He sees modern therapy as a tool to erode male agency. The constant push for men to speak their feelings is, in his view, a way to make them weaker.
So what's the alternative?
A stoic defense. He says men aren't repressed, they're resilient. Silence isn't a disorder, it's a shield. The masculine imperative isn't to talk about problems, it's to act and solve them.
He calls it the discipline cascade. He brings up the marshmallow test.
Exactly. Civilization was built by the guardian class, men who could delay gratification. Riker's argument is that the modern welfare state and therapy culture have dismantled that. There's no need to wait, no need to be disciplined.
Which brings us to the family, the hearth and the legacy. Riker really mourns the death of the family dinner table.
He cites this huge shift from 1990, when almost no one had screens at dinner, to 2020, where 78% of families are eating in front of a device.
It's just calorie consumption now.
It's grazing, but in a group. The ritual is gone.
And he has a very specific role for fathers in this, the fatherhood imperative.
He believes the father has to set the rhythm of the table. And this is where it gets really controversial. He says the father should eat last, or be the one to carve the meat.
I can just hear people screaming patriarchy right now.
And Riker would say, good. He doesn't see it as oppression, he sees it as order, a prophylactic presence against chaos. The father demonstrates control. It's symbolic leadership.
He tells that story about social sabotage, the guy in Seattle.
The software engineer, right?
Yeah, he's fasting, he's getting healthy, he feels great. And his girlfriend...
She starts baking keto brownies every single day.
But honey, I'm helping you, it's keto.
Riker calls this a loyalty probe. He says it's not help, it's sabotage.
How so?
He argues that women can subconsciously try to undermine male discipline, because a disciplined man is less dependent. If he doesn't eat her comfort food, maybe he doesn't need her as much. It's a test to pull him back into her orbit.
That is a very dark take on a brownie.
It is, but it fits his thesis perfectly. He warns men that when you start improving yourself, the people around you will often try to pull you back down to their level of comfort.
And it all builds toward this idea of legacy. He pushes back hard on the child-free and thriving narrative.
He calls that a genetic dead end. He wants men to build a dynasty of health. You fast and lift not just for yourself, but so your sons see a father who is the master of his own body, not a slave to the fridge.
Your physical state is the primary lesson.
It's the first lesson you teach your kids about how to deal with the world. Are you a consumer or are you a creator?
So, after all this, I mean, we've gone from insulin all the way to the fall of Western civilization. What's the final takeaway?
The sovereign man conclusion is that fasting is the final stand against decay. We live in a world of soft tyranny, comfort, convenience, endless dopamine. Fasting is a voluntary rejection of all that.
It's practice.
In a way, it's practicing how to meet death, standing up.
It's a powerful idea, no matter what you think of the politics. It frames health as agency. And he leaves us with that final challenge. You are not your hunger. You are the one who decides.
That's it. Agency. In a world that wants you to consume, be a decider.
Look, this was a dense one. We've really only been able to unpack the philosophy. The practical application is all in the text.
Absolutely.
So if this conversation got you thinking, or even if it just made you angry, you probably need to go deeper. We really recommend you follow the author directly. Go to Substack and find @ConradRiker. He calls it truth delivered straight to your inbox, free of algorithms.
And seriously, get the book. We've barely scratched the surface of the actual fasting schedules and workout plans.
For sure, go to Amazon Kindle or Google Play Books. Search for intermittent fasting intervals, alternate days, feeding windows, walking and lifting, and buy the ebook. It's the war plan you didn't know you needed.
It might just change your life.
And finally, please like and subscribe to our show. It really does help the algorithm find more men who are ready for this message. Thanks for listening. And stay sovereign.